Hello everyone, welcome to Multinational Business Management video lecture. So in the next 10 to 15 minutes, we are going to discuss about the final part of Global Market Opportunity Assessment Framework, which is basically about how to better manage international strategic alliances. Okay, so if you remember well that in a physical lecture, we talk about the determinants of FDI performance is essentially location, right? Then what about managing international strategic alliances? So you can see from the slide here, this is a managerial framework of international strategic alliances from the textbook. So basically the textbook framework tells you about a quite systematic 8 steps. So first of all, you need to choose whether or not you are going alone, essentially whether or not you're doing FDI or you're gonna enter in the international partnership or international strategic alliances. So once you chose that, I made up my mind that I like to collaborate with someone else in the foreign markets, then you decide on the type of ideal partners. So you will list out a list of criteria in selecting your partners, and these criteria essentially are quite in line with the internationalization objective of your firm. So you're going to use this criteria to screen the qualified partners candidates and then determine the nature of your legal relationship with the prospective partners. So we talk about that there are a variety of international collaboration. Sorry. So you can either do equity-based collaboration such as the joint venture, or you can do non-equity-based alliances such as the buyer-supply relationship, R&D coalitions, or you just do international franchising or licensing depending upon your collaborating objective. And once you decided which type of the relationship you're going to set up with the partners, of course you're going to negotiate formal agreements, right? Especially if you enter the contractual alliances. And throughout the signing out of agreements, you started to interacting with your partners. Of course, you two need to build up your trust, empathy, and reciprocity. And then you establish the very clear criteria for measuring venture performance. And then you keep monitoring and measuring the performance, and you make plans about whether or not you're gonna continue a relationship. So you usually will set out long-term goals. So give you some statistics to know more about the dynamic nature of alliance management. So despite the popularity of alliance formation, the average lifespan of alliances is about 2 to 5 years. And based on my own research published in 2012, in line with other studies, I found that nearly 80% of alliances ultimately end in the sale by one of the partners. That means that more than 80% of the alliances are perceived as the gateways for mergers or acquisitions. But why is that? So why do you think the most companies form strategic alliances before they do M&A? I think the much practical concern is that making M&A decision is often very risky for firms, in particular if you are merging or acquiring a private company with no public information or financial data available for evaluation. So in this regard, companies tend to lower down their risks and transaction costs by forming strategic alliances, prolonging their evaluation and assessment process on the target partners. And during the cooperation period via strategic alliances, they will have more access to the partner's information and see if it is really worthy buying it. If the cooperation goes well and the firm found that the target partner does have certain valuable assets it requires, then the M&A deal is mature and considered to be proceeded. So this argument is in line with a journal paper published in the past years. So from the empirical study of biotechnological and pharmaceutical industries, the authors found that the reduction of transaction costs in M&A can lead to more successful target selections and a more efficient transaction process of the deal, because the time from announcement to completion of an M&A can be significantly reduced. So this effect can be explained by the trust building, better access to private information, and certification through strategic alliances that were formed by both parties. So from the management perspective, achieving sound alliance performance has not always been an easy task. Considering there are more than 2 firms involving in a corporation, sometimes there will be 3 or 4 firms, right? So which might result in potential divergence of strategic objective of alliances between collaborating firms. So it makes sense. If we perceive alliances as partnership between individuals, you and your partners may have different objectives while getting along, right? So according to a survey conducted by Dyer et al.'s research back in 2004, which was a bit old, but it spoke the truth even today. So their research found that over 82% of the firms undertaking strategic alliances admitted that there are 2 different ways of achieving the same growth goals if the cooperation involves at least 2 partners. So since managing international strategic alliances is not that straightforward as many people perceive it is, at the present stage, however, we still have very limited understanding of how to better manage them. Then here comes my own research in the past decade. So I started international strategic alliance research back in my doctoral thesis like 10 years ago, that I wanted to unpack the black box of alliance performance by conceptualizing the underlying assumptions. So you see from the slide, this is basically the theoretical model. So you see that while most prior research argue the linear relationship among the determinants of international strategic alliances, just as the framework, systematic 8-step framework provided in the textbook. But to be honest, I'm not a big fan of that. I believe an alliance performance is influenced by the simultaneous interaction among 3 layers of factors, including alliance objective, activities, partner firms, and their external contexts, domestically and internationally. So here I call it as a co-evolutionary view on international strategic alliance performance. And based on such theoretical framework, I have developed several streams of my own research in the past decade. I tend not dig into this research topic for now, as you will get bored very soon. But the main takeaway from here is the dynamic nature of alliance management. Because the outcome of international collaboration are controlled by more than one partner firm, you not only need to consider the dynamic partner interactions, such as the bargaining power between partners or the relationship between them. And sometimes the number of partners will complicate the tension and relationship between each other. You also need to take into account the contextual factors where the partners originate in terms of culture, institutional, or economic differences between each country. Country of origin, certainly they will influence partner interactions and the collaborative performance. And the last but not the least, not to mention the nature of international collaboration. So what sort of alliance activities are involved in the cooperation? Is it simple as buyer-supplier exchange or complicated as joint venture involving equity investments and control issues? All of which posing impact on the alliance performance for sure. So this indicates that you as IB manager engaging in international strategic alliances will need to recognize the dynamic nature of international collaboration, being comprehensive and adaptable in response to the interaction effect of these 3 layers of factors at once. Okay, so far, I think we finished the explanation on global market opportunity assessment process. And to see if you understand how to utilize this model in practices, here I provide a case study for your reference. So the case is about a Canadian multinational firm called Avigilon. This company is a typical example how to apply the global market opportunity assessment framework to examine whether or not they are ready for internationalization. Okay, so I will hope that you can spend some time review the vector video and also I think I provide a video link, okay, and also the case study itself, which is just 2 pages. Then I also will provide the answer onto Google Classroom so you can see that afterwards. Okay.
Global video surveillance market is a very large and rapid growing market. My name is Alexander Fernandez. I am the founder, president, and CEO of Avigilon Corporation. We manufacture ourselves here locally in North America for several reasons. First of all is quality control. So we're able to control our own destiny and control the user's experience. Secondly is one for cost. We run a very efficient operation. Thirdly is the speed at which we're able to move. Going from innovation to prototyping to a final product is much faster.
What makes Avigilon unique is that we're controlling every aspect of the manufacturing process. We do our automated circuit board assembly here. We do our camera unit assembly here. We do our network video recorder provisioning here.
We're able to access global markets, so we sell globally from here. It has this critical mass of developers, engineers, manufacturing expertise, and that comes down to the people. The people are the ones that actually make that plan into reality. You know, really there's just tremendous growth ahead of us. We're ramping up our manufacturing operations to keep up with demand. We strive for excellence, simply put.
And so far, we finished the lecture on global market opportunity assessment, and I believe the lecture content so far, they will very much help you in your preparation for international expansion projects. And if you have any questions, please do not hesitate. Just schedule a meeting with me. We can do it online or in physical meetings. Ideally on Thursday or Friday noon, okay? And then we can always discuss about that if you have any questions. Okay, thank you.